Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Aquarius Rising Africa. Hope you're all having a fantastic time and having a good week so far. And I have with me today the amazing Rachel Vaughan, all the way from Australia. And we are going to be talking about the movie Disclosure Day. I've not seen it yet, actually. I didn't really plan to, but perhaps I should. I'm hearing lots of contrasting thoughts on this, just from what I'm seeing on my newsfeed. Some people are saying it does affect you. Certain sounds, I guess, virtual signaling does affect you. Others are saying absolutely not. But I'm going to go with what our expert survivors who've literally been in the system and know what's going on there, like our beautiful Rachel Vaughan. Ta-da! Hello, lovely. Welcome back.
Good to see you, sweetheart. Yes, this should be interesting. Big spoiler alert for everybody. I'm going to ruin the movie for you, so if you want to see.
I'm looking forward to this, because, sorry, I think it's such a significant time. The timing, if there's anything we've learned from you survivors, is that the timing is everything. We have to look at the moon cycles, the numerology, the times that they put out movies like this, and how it coincides and links in to everything that's happening at the moment. But before we go there, I want to just please create some awareness and ask you guys to keep South Africa in your prayers right now. We are on the brink of a civil war. What's happening is the local South African Black people, and I will specify that because that's what it is right now, have taken it upon themselves to get rid of all the illegal immigrants in this country. And trust me, there are hundreds of thousands. Now, yes, there's a lot to be said about that, and I agree. No country can survive with so many illegal immigrants that have taken over. And yes, of course, and when we're looking then at in the areas where the African people live, illegal immigrants have absolutely opened up businesses like what we call the spaza shops, which is where they buy sweets, milk, everything, like a cafe. And so there's a lot of internal wars that has been going on anyway. But when we look at it from the bigger picture, South Africa is the gateway for the New World Order. We have seen this. And if you haven't seen it yet, then please start seeing what's going on. Africa is the continent they have wanted for the longest time. Africa is known as the mother of the earth, basically. She's the heart. And it is widely believed that life began here. And which is also makes sense to me that this is where we would be having our greatest traumas at the moment, right? But what's happening is that the people are now literally chasing the illegal immigrants out. Hundreds of thousands of people who don't have money, Malawians in particular, and the Malawians, and not only them, but the Malawians have worked and lived alongside us for decades and decades and decades. They are the most beautiful, peaceful people, and they are the first to willingly go. But what's happened is that they're being chased like animals. Many of them don't have money. They are sitting at border posts in especially KwaZulu-Natal. And yes, the local community has absolutely stepped up in many ways to feed them, have food kitchens and stuff. So it's incredible, but it's not just there. But what I'm hearing is very, very disturbing. Police I'm hearing police are fetching people from these camps and not bringing all of them back. Buses are taking busloads of people to Johannesburg, separating men and women, putting them in large classroom or hall type areas where I think we know very well that these situations are fertile grounds for human trafficking. So I have no doubt that this is what's happening. This is also the implementation of digital ID into Africa. They're using this as a reason to bring in digital ID, which the ANC, the ruling party, and the Democratic Alliance, the DA, the supposed multiracial party led by white Zionists, have signed an agreement to bring in digital ID. So while all this chaos is going on here, digital ID is being brought in. So please keep us in your prayers. I'm speaking to some Malawian people who are in these camps, and I'm literally getting some firsthand information of what's happening there. Yesterday, 5 Malawians were killed. They died. They're being stoned to death. They are cornered. Fruit and vegetable vendors are literally cornered. And if they can't produce these thugs on the street with relevant documentation, they are literally being stoned in the streets. And that's the next step. Is what they do is they call the necklace. Now the black South Africans, I'm following all these social media threads. The threats, they are being threatened with a necklace. The necklace is when they catch you, they tie your hands and feet together with barbed wire, often cut your hands and feet off, douse you with petrol, put a rubber tire around your neck, and set you alight.
Oh my God.
So that's what's happening currently in Africa. We cannot ignore this anymore. You know, Africa has been the dustbin of the world, or been seen to be, what did Trump call us not too long ago? The shithole. We are far from a shithole. Far from a shithole. This is where the most of the resources are.
Yeah.
And this is why we are under so much attack. So I want to say to our white South African viewers as well, guys, wake the F up. This is not a black man's problem. This is all of our problem, because this is how we are being taken in by the New World Order. This is what's happening in South Africa right now. And they've used South Africa as the guinea pig for apartheid for the longest time. They've used this country and this continent to segregate us. We, as the normal white and black person on the street, we like each other, actually. We have good relationships. My granddaughter's mixed race. There are many mixed race babies running around this country, I promise you. So what you see there, and the fact, this narrative that's held that we are the racists of the world, is the biggest lot of fucking bullshit you are ever going to hear. We are probably right now the most unracist country. But yes, a lot of white South Africans are still sitting with their heads up their backsides. You do. You sit on your couch and you watch TV from a distance and you make this the black person's problem. It's not. It's our problem. We have to heal this continent. We are the most southern tip of the globe. We are the birthplace. We are the umbilical cord for the world. If we go down, I promise you, the rest of the world goes down. It's going to happen like that.
That's a thought, Shanti, because do you really think that people will comply if they're this angry? Do you think they'll comply to a digital ID? No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, they're gonna have no choice. Otherwise, it's FEMA camps.
Jeez.
I mean, and it's the not too long ago. I grew up in the height of apartheid. Not too long ago, the African people, at a certain time at night, they were not allowed in the white areas.
Yeah.
And if they had to be there, they carried what they call a dumb pass.
Okay.
So now, this is the modern day dumb pass.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, it's your own people enslaving you now.
Yeah.
It's the black government enslaving the black people because the puppets have changed, but the puppet masters have not. It's the same puppet masters running this country. And they've just got different puppets. Cyril Ramaphosa sold out a long time ago. Harry Oppenheimer is his handler. Johann Rupert runs this country. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me the fuck wrong. I'm so tired of people, especially white South Africans. We sit there, we complain about how shit the black government is and what they've done to destroy this country that our forefathers built up. Yes, that's true, but so did the sweat of the black man. It's a merged process that we went through here, except it was under colonization. But this also proves to me that we are so capable of working together. The black man has abilities and skills that we can only freaking dream of, man. Yes, are we more intellectually adept because our forefathers built universities and brainwashed into believing that connection to earth was not important?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what the African people hate about us. They tell us we have no soul.
Wow.
They tell us our fathers are pedophiles and that we are soulless. They know this. They know this because they feel it. They don't have to have the intellectual knowledge to know what's going on. We've got to wake up.
Yeah.
We've got to wake up. This is crises now. It really, really is. And it's happening all around the world. And people are being trafficked. This is the best opportunity for human and child trafficking. And we know how much they want the African people.
Yeah.
This is a perfect opportunity. I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
And I am heartbroken right now. So,
this is what's going on. I mean, there's some very, very intense stuff going on. And I know I'm not an astrologer, but I've watched some, and they're talking about, July is where the truth of the truth comes out. There are alignments bringing out stuff that people cannot deal with. I have hope that your people will not accept digital ID. And how are they going to round them up? Shanti, you've got a lot of people there.
Which is why they are getting rid of the illegal immigrants. You see, I have no doubt that this is actually coming. This is instructions from the highest level. No doubt. Right. You see, they know exactly how to rally up the troops. So they are bringing this from the highest level. They're organizing these marches. And there's the Zulu king running around the streets of KwaZulu-Natal. And he's with his shield and sticks and whatever, and all the Zulus running around the streets of Durban right now, absolutely terrorizing people, the foreign black people. And so this is how they're going to start doing it here, is when enough, obviously, illegal immigrants, because I doubt that they'll get rid of 100% of them. So then they're going to start bringing in the digital ID for the locals. Our Home Affairs, where we get our IDs. I mean, as a local South African, if I go to the Home Affairs and apply for a new ID, I wait for like 6 months.
Wow.
I mean, it's a joke. how long it takes just to, and then the printing machine's broken, and it's chaos. It's chaos what we go through here. And now you can imagine how many of the immigrants have come here. Their paperwork has been put in. They are waiting for paperwork, some of them for 2 years. But of course, our government is useless. Useless. The ANC is the biggest rot that ever entered this planet. They are the Shatauri through and through. Krida Mutwe speaks about the Shatauri, the lizard beings of Africa. That's them. I'm not even going to go there. That's a topic for another day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you about that because I know a South African who told me that there are like lizard beings there.
Yeah. They're called the Shatauri. Krida Mutwe spoke about them a lot. Yeah. Chitauri, Shatauri.
Okay.
And they're the lizard beings. And he says, and that's why a lot of African women have big buttocks. I never said this, guys, because it's like their lizard tails are rolled up into their buttocks.
Very interesting.
Now, Krida Mutwe said that. And when you see what happens here as well, I mean, African people are beautiful. I don't give a shit what country they come from. Yeah. They've got the most beautiful connected spirits. They've got the most beautiful sense of Ubuntu. They're always looking out for each other. Yeah. But when they turn on each other, this is what happens. And what's scary to me is that John Foster, who was president in the 70s, he spoke about this. He warned that Africans are going to turn on themselves. And I hate the fact that these fucking apartheid ex-presidents are right about that. I hate it. I hate it.
Revolution brings breakthrough, darling, and let's just hope this is the end of their pipe dreams for this new world order, because in my state, the police commissioner and his deputy, plus another very high-ranking police commissioner, one's quit. The other two have a vote of no confidence from their own people, from their own South Australian police officers. No confidence. Now, next day, what happens? Oh, we've got bird flu. The premier that needs to have his hand held by the police commissioner throughout his entire premiership has got a very worried face, and they found 2 dead birds on the beach, and it must be bird flu. I mean, it's just this constant playing of the same rubbish over and over and over again. People are waking up to it. So if I were in power in South Africa, I'd be wondering, how the hell am I going to implement this digital ID with these people that can feel and sense and see the rubbish before they even speak to it? So
which is why they will go through this experience first and get people to their lowest form of brokenness. It's like they are finished. They've been chased. They've been treated like dogs. They've had their everything taken away. They have nothing to go to back home. There's an absolute sense of complete helplessness. So when people are this helpless, that's when, and they, as we were saying earlier, they are putting them in these big soccer stadiums or places, which is where there are powerful portals as well.
Yes, exactly.
I was saying to the one Malawian guy I was speaking to yesterday, he's in one of these stadiums. I said to him, just hum. I said, your people have got the most beautiful voices. Yeah. Start humming and look up. Look up. Even when it feels like you're in hell, look up and hum. Sure.
Yep. Because they're not going to get the same loosh that way. They're not going to get, because obviously they want to herd them in there and make them absolutely miserable, which tells me the frequency is raising very quickly. They have to do this sort of crazy stuff when the frequency goes up. And last week and the week before, the Schumann resonance was going nuts. I can't remember the exact dates, but it was recent. And another shift happened. Another shift, another uprising of frequency with humanity. So every time it happens, they try and dampen it down again. So what you've advised is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And I want to take this opportunity to ask you guys, please,
Yeah.
please, sit and just focus your energy on these people in these arenas in Africa and hum for them.
Yeah.
Because,
it makes a difference.
you know, when people say to me, pray, I say, I don't pray, I hum.
Yeah.
Because singing lifts the soul.
Absolutely.
It sends you back to God. So please, guys, hum for Africa right now. Hum for Africa.
It soothes the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, so you will feel
Totally.
a lot better as well. It's
Yeah,
really,
you
really
will. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing for you. I mean, I'm just busy doing, in fact, one of my new workshops with the pilot group, and it's working through the humming and the chakras and the elements. It is incredible. We are having the most unbelievable shifts right now, individually, going
beautiful,
through this. So please hum. And I'm going to put that workshop out there soon for you guys. I'm just finishing my pilot project. It is amazing. It is amazing. But I can also just tell you, my own work has never kicked my ass quite as badly as this time by purely humming, because
Yeah.
nothing static remains in a body that vibrates. So it's going to
Yeah.
bring up everything you've got to release. You got to face some challenges. You got to make some changes, which is why I've done the protective patterning series. Please watch that, because it talks about how our nervous system protects itself in certain patterns, which become your cage. And
Yes.
that cage protects you for a while, but thereafter it becomes your jail, when your
Yeah.
cage becomes your jail. So we repattern the nervous system through humming and breathing. That's it. Your body does the rest. Your cells know exactly what to do. So we're putting that out soon, guys. Please join us. And right now, please hum for Africa. Visualize these people in these huge centers, sitting there, destitute, no hope. Hum for them, please. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And that's all I have to say.
Mm.
Rachel, I've taken up so much of your time already. Forgive me, but I felt that was necessary.
It's very important. It's a really important message, and I'm hoping people will do that. Well, it's amazing that you just happened to mention the Shatari. So I went public on Monday with my own experience with two reptilian beings in childhood. And that's part of why I wanted to speak today, because I've sat on this, like I remembered around 2008. My father being the ASIO operative, introduced me to these two entities, which as a 3-year-old, I'd already had a lot of MK Ultra Theta psychic programming, and I'd been trained in telepathy with Xena cards, or what people tell me must have been Xena cards, these white cards with black markings on them. My father would hold me up as these people in lab coats asked me what the person in the next room was looking at, and I would point to which card was correct. Now, I was so young at the time, I was still in a nappy and I still had a pacifier in my mouth, but that was part of the programming. Now, oh, beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Rosie. Good on you. So
Appreciate you.
one of the reasons why I decided to share that, I actually made the plan to share it on this program on Monday the week beforehand, but then didn't quite happen. And then I went and saw the Disclosure Day movie, and it's quite uncanny because there's so many aspects of what I experienced as a child in that movie, which is why I put a warning out on the weekend, so that people would know if they've had MK Ultra programming, if they're part of the secret space program, anything along those lines, the gate programming, to know that if you go along and watch Disclosure Day, you may be activated. You may feel triggered, severely triggered. And so I just want people to know I'm not severely triggered. That's not why I've shared this information that I remembered back in 2008 that happened to me when I was about 3. I've only shared it now because I feel there is so much coming out now about, the extraterrestrial, which is also interdimensional entities that we've existed with on this planet forever. Cryptids. If people look up the word cryptid, you'll see all manner of different entities, and you see them when they're in a portal space. Now, these two beings that my father introduced me to did some sort of, I assume was some sort of IQ test. It was a small black box that would light up a series of lights, and they showed me through clicking noises that they made and telepathy how to put the pegs where the lights had been. And I had to remember where the lights had lit up in this little black box. So that I've seen they do these sort of tests with apes. I've seen that since as an adult, that they do that sort of testing with them. And, you know, when this program that I watched where they were doing this with this ape infuriated me, because the ape had exceptional intelligence and was looking at these idiots in these lab coats like, why are you doing this to me? And they couldn't understand how intelligent the animal was. Oh, for God's sake, because they're sentient, genius level intelligence. So I'm sharing about that now because I did an interview in 3 months ago with my friend Alex on Nuggets News about the Zorro Ranch, Epstein Zorro Ranch. And in that, I predicted that they stopped putting out the tranche of Epstein files. Then they would release the UFO files, and then they would bring out the rest of the Epstein files. And the reason they had to have that break in between is people have to get their head around the fact that there are aliens or extraterrestrials, which are really just other beings that have lived here forever. The Hopi Indians spoke about reptilians in the Grand Canyon 10,000 years ago. That's a very long time. I think they've probably been here as long as we have. Because what was happening at Zorro Ranch underneath that mesa, which is supposedly a helicopter pad, which can't possibly be because it was made with loose rocks. You can't have that with a helicopter landing on it. It's clearly not a helicopter landing pad. Underneath there was a facility where they were doing alien-human hybrid breeding programs. So women were being impregnated. So they called them designer babies. Well, it gets a bit freakier than that. It's not just a designer baby. So first trove of Epstein documents were they were the primer to wake people up to the fact that this happens. Then they have to release the UFO stuff. I think in July they're going to show the real stuff that they've been sort of testing to see how humanity can cope with it, with some of the stuff that they've shared so far or released. And it's obviously not very impressive. We know there's a lot more to come. So once they've released the really full-on stuff, then I think they're going to start releasing what's actually been happening under that ranch. And for people who find this difficult to understand, these breeding programs, this is part of, I've been in Zoom meetings with people who've been breeders, who've gone through that nightmare. Have you interviewed people who've gone through that, Shanti?
I've spoken to people who are designer babies, if that's
right. Yeah.
Yes. So there are definitely people I've spoken to who've had that. There was actually, you mentioned that, and there was one girl I interviewed her quite a while ago, Elle. She's a South African girl. Unfortunately, we had to distort her voice though. But she was one of those, and she was but cousin to the Queen and all sorts of things. So that high, but I think a lot of, when we're looking at the Montauk survivors and stuff like that, I think a lot of those guys, I think a lot of people have also been placed there at certain times, like with the reincarnation rituals and things as well, right? So they would then place certain DNA or certain babies in certain wombs of certain women at certain times. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, IVF. Who knows what's going on in those labs when they've created IVF babies? There's all sorts of interesting things going on, and I think people, need to get their head around it. So with the movie, there are aspects of the movie that felt like it came straight out of my life. But I know, because Stranger Things felt the same way, but I know it's because a lot of people who've been through MK Ultra and SRA and SSP and all these other programs, they've taken that information and they've put it in a movie.
Yes.
So I started talking to people about the fact that when I met these two beings, I did touch one on the arm because I'd been through rituals and things. Even as a 3-year-old, I knew that there were things that weren't physical that I'd experienced. I'd seen demons and things. I wanted to touch one to see if it was real. I wasn't frightened when this occurred because I wasn't being abused. They weren't horrible, and I loved animals. And so I'm looking at these things thinking it's just another kind of animal. I was very curious. My father was very nonplussed about the whole thing. He turned his back on us after he'd introduced me to them. And I was just working with them with this light box. He was just working at the telecommunications centre that he had in the hidden cellar. And just for people who haven't seen me before, there was a hidden cellar, an old brick kiln turned to a telecommunications bunker and tunnels beneath my childhood home. My father built the house specifically on that location. I've actually had someone send me a video recently where it shows exactly the alignment, which I'd already proven that my childhood home was on a really powerful ley line alignment. And for those who don't understand this, ley lines are interdimensional. So, and when you get a crossing point of ley lines, like the arenas we were just talking about where these poor people are being held, that is an interdimensional space. So if you're going to get a cryptid or, demons or that sort of thing, that they're much easier to call up in those spaces. So someone sent me a video where they'd actually proven much more eloquently than in the video that I've put out that my house was directly on one of these alignments, straight from the St Albans Lighthouse on Kangaroo Island all the way to the St Peter's Cathedral. So I think people are starting to share a lot more about this sort of thing. They're putting it out there. I think this movie was part of that process to wake people up. I didn't see it as just simply entertainment because there was too much in there that was actually real. And one of the things which was really interesting, I've spoken a lot about central heterochromia. This is something that was brought to my attention by my cousin Doug McIntyre, who'd done some research and shared it with me. I have central heterochromia. The blue version, I've got the green version, but the blue version has a yellow sunburst around the pupil. So you've got a blue coloured iris with a yellow sort of like a sunburst. It's quite beautiful. In the movie, when the alien activates the main protagonist, the female, she gets that sunburst in her eyes, and that's a sign of central heterochromia. So a lot of people who go through the MK Ultra program have that eye colour.
Yeah. Maybe you just want to go through that again. I know we have done a show on heterochromia before, and I want to highly advise you guys, if you haven't watched that, it was a good few months, maybe 6 months ago, we did it, or 4 to 6 months ago, we did that show. It is on the playlist with Rachel on Aquarius Rising Africa. So please go and watch that because it is super, super interesting. But if you wouldn't mind, just for those who might not know what heterochromia now is, maybe can you just give us a little bit of a synopsis?
Okay. So iris color, so depending on your eye color, you may have an ability to see a wider range of the electromagnetic spectrum. I know through my courses that I teach, my psychic development courses, the people that have come in who have central or full heterochromia, there's also segmented and partial. So central heterochromia is where you have two very distinct rings of color in the iris. So with me, it's sort of orangey brown and green. With blue-eyed people, it's yellow and blue. There are different varieties. We can see, we're called tetrachromats. We see a wider range of colors. We can also see magnetic frequencies, i.e. ley lines. They are visible, and we do have the CRY2 cryptochrome, same as birds and insects. So we can see magnetic frequencies. We can see ley lines. Those with heterochromia seem to see them better. So the people that have come into my courses who have central heterochromia or partial or segmented, where it's like a little part of it's got a different color, can pick up a wider range. So we see like a bee. So there's dichromats, trichromats, and tetrachromats. So, it's fascinating. The Hindus have believed forever that people with full or central, partial or segmented heterochromia can see God, can commune with fairies, can see the future. So there's a psychic element. It's a heightened psychic ability. It does not mean that people who don't have that eye color aren't psychic. It's rubbish.
Don't have it.
But it is a rare eye color.
Do you think that because so many people that have it have been MK ultra'd or traumatized as kids, do you think that that is the reason why they have it? Or are people also born with that condition naturally? Because the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? So the eyes will be telling you a lot about the soul, really.
Absolutely. So Doug did come up with some research that sometimes trauma can actually cause the heterochromia. trauma also seems to bring out psychic ability in people. They traumatize MK Ultra victims to make them psychic. So Freemasons believe that they cause enormous trauma to the vagus nerve in a child, usually through something horrible happening to their bottom end. Before the age of 3, they will open up their psychic ability. This was done to me with a knife when I was 2.5. And I have I received victim of crime compensation. Part of the compensation was for the fact that I had that experience, and I have a professor of proctology that's proven that happened to me. I have a permanent injury as a result. My father did that, of course. So that's something that they believe, and that can bring on the heterochromia. But with my family, it's genetic. So the Nazis were experimenting on the Romani gypsies who have this eye color. Celtic people.
Of course they were. So they were trying to emulate that, weren't they?
Yes. So this is why I get so concerned. We saw this thing with Leon Black, who was he had the biggest photography company that took photographs of American children, who's been exposed in the Epstein files for doing horrific things to children. This is why they take photographs of kids at school, because it's as plain as the eyes on your face. They know who to target. So this is why so many people in Hollywood, as I've spoken before, have full or central heterochromia, partial or segmented, particularly in the Marvel movies. I mean, you look at all of the Marvel actors and actresses, you will see one version of heterochromia, because they do have also skills in different areas. I've also noticed that, I teach telekinesis as well. It's actually quite simple. It's not as confusing or scary or difficult as people think. And those with heterochromia seem to have a greater propensity to be able to move things with their mind as well.
Sorry, I just blocked someone.
Oh, okay.
I was waving them goodbye.
So I thought that was really interesting. It came up in the movie. I think, and that was a part of the reason I wanted to mention to people who've had, MK Ultra or SRA or SSP programming. If they do go and see it, just be aware that it could be triggering. It's a good idea to make sure that if you do go in, go with somebody that you trust that can keep you grounded.
I so agree with that. And we have to, because you explained it so perfectly in terms of first bringing on this, and then the next phase would be that. And then, of course, this is the next phase, right? And how they do it, because as you say, they want to see just how open and receptive we are to this fake or real alien agenda. I have no doubt that there are off-worldly beings and beings from other dimensions and planets and things, but I also don't believe that everything we're seeing is from them. I believe that there are a lot of programmed individuals that have been programmed, that have been assets for the system since they were born, basically, and before, that are obviously programmed to react to a lot of what is been happening in the movie. So therefore, I don't think anyone can say it's not triggering. I don't think anyone has the right to say that. It's like me saying, oh, you're speaking rubbish. That movie doesn't trigger me, so it's not being triggered. I'm not a survivor. I have not had the same programming as what hundreds and thousands of other survivors have had.
Yeah.
So we have to bear that in mind. Even if it's not happening to you, it's happening very probably to somebody who is a survivor and who has been programmed to react at this point in time. Yeah. What's your take on that?
Well, I think, again, I just feel if survivors do want to go along and watch it, just do so with the knowledge that it could be intense. You might be triggered by something. You don't want to necessarily go online straight after and I don't know, if you feel triggered, don't do it publicly. That's probably the best recommendation.
How does a survivor know they're being triggered? Because mostly they don't. They'll get a phone call and a certain word is said or whatever, and then they just go into their altered state. But let's say in a movie like this, what would you say would be signs maybe that you've been triggered or something has activated in you?
Well, I mean, memories coming up. If there
Right.
are memories that are latent that haven't come up previously and they suddenly come up after seeing the movie, that's a possibility. Acting out, doing things that you wouldn't normally do or you know are bad for you, any kind of suicide programming. And this is the thing, people don't understand Manchurian candidates. You know, people are trained so that there will be a certain signal, sound, word, whatever. I used to watch my mother, you know, my father would say a few words and click his fingers at her and she'd be in another state and she wouldn't be awake until he brought her out. But her eyes would be open, but she wouldn't be functioning.
Completely.
So,
Completely.
yes, yeah. So this is the way it works. And she also had central heterochromia. So that's another thing that Doug has shared with me. People with central full, you know, segmented or partial heterochromia have a greater propensity for dissociation, which is very beneficial. If you want to program somebody, they have to be able to dissociate. So and I've known people have come to me and said, look, I've got that eye color. And a Freemason walked up to me. Multiple people have come to me to say, this Freemason walked up to me and tried to recruit me or wanted me to go back to his house or something, you know, and it's like, because and I couldn't understand why they'd picked on me specifically. And I saw your thing and then I realized it was probably because this is plain as the eyes on my face. So again, you know, just about every child gets photographed for school and I can't stop that from happening, but I can warn people, you know, don't send photographs of your child's eye or close-up photographs, you know, all over the internet. You know, parents do this sort of thing all the time. It's a horror show.
Absolutely. Wow. We have to be so aware of this. Jeez, we have to be so aware of this, guys. It's like it's all around us. And you know, and this is unfortunately, you know, when we look at the 1% of the world that governs, or the 1% that governs the world, the presidents, and we all know presidents are puppets, right? The celebrities, the politicians. I mean, these guys are all highly programmed. They didn't just get there by getting there. Anyone who knows anything about how satanic ritual abuse works, and since we know we're governed by Satanists, this whole world is governed by Luciferians, we have to accept that, because as long as we don't accept that, we're not going to be able to see how to deal with it. We're going to, denial is not a river in Egypt, right? So if you're in denial that there are Luciferians governing this world, I don't give a crap what color your skin is, right? They don't discern between skin color. They just want your leash in your blood. So as long as we deny that, we cannot deal with what is. We have to deal with what is. You might not be a practicing Satanist, and these things might not be even a thought in your head, because God knows 90% of what I've heard here has certainly not been a thought in my head, but I had to accept that it's happening because I can see it all around me and I can see the results of it all around me. So if we can accept that's happening and can't say, oh, there's no demons, maybe not for you, but for other people, and demonic entities will obviously arrange themselves in a way that they're going to be attracted and attack people that are on that vibration.
Every major religion talks about demons. Every major religion. The Buddhists just call them ghosts, but it's still a demon.
Of course it is. And they're lower vibrating entities. And that is why I want to say, you know, I can see there's some Africans in my chat being very sassy with me this morning. I'm good with that, dudes. I'm good with that. What I'm saying is that when we understand how this works, and we understand that there is no color, they've used white and black to divide us.
Exactly.
That's brainwashing. And if you think white people haven't been brainwashed into believing we are superior, think again. Just like black people have been brainwashed into believing they are inferior. It's not the truth. So we have to get ourselves out of the slavery mindset.
Yeah.
Slavery is a mindset.
It's a
If
color
we get
revolution.
ourselves, absolutely.
Make us all
And
fight
we,
each other so we don't notice who's at the top.
and when we look at how the creatures of the night on the top, the lords of the dark are at the top, and they are the ones who've had exactly the mind control of which we speak, which makes them soulless. Doesn't make every white person soulless.
Yeah.
It makes the ones at the top who've had mind control. And yes, they've certainly controlled a lot of black and white people. Doesn't matter. This is what we need to realize. This racial bullshit between us has to go. It's humans together. If your soul sings to mine and my soul sings to yours, we're on the same team, man. We need to get these guys out. That's what it is. And not through violence, but through knowledge. That's how we topple the dark nest, if you want to call it that. And that's why I say hum for Africa, hum for Africa. They've got the black people right now. And I'm saying this again. I know I said it before, but for those of you who've tuned in, you would have seen at the beginning of my show, I was speaking about what's happening in South Africa right now. What they've done is they've got black people in these like big, like stadium type things, halls, classrooms, whatever. These are portals.
Yeah.
These are portals where they suck the loosh. They want the energy. They want you to be miserable.
Yeah.
The way that we don't do that is to hum
Yeah.
to the people. If you are in there, hum and sing, because that's going to uplift your soul. Look up. Look up. Don't look down. Look up. Look up and hum. That's all I want to say.
It's a very clear evidence, in my opinion, that the earth is going up in frequency again. We're all going up in frequency, so they have to do these really drastic things. They whip people up into a frenzy so that they will go around and do this. And when people were being led into all these different countries from other countries, I knew that eventually they'd all get chased out, and it would be horrific for them because, of course, they've got to go back to countries that they left. And perhaps they were in danger when they left. Well, there was obviously a reason for them to leave in the first place. It wasn't just because they were put up in hotels for free and that sort of thing in certain places like in America. So we're all humans, and remember that. So I want to make a statement also on Bluebeam, because obviously that's part of Project Bluebeam, was part of the New World Order, trying to bring in this New World Order. They were going to bring on some sort of, alien fear-mongering to bring everybody together to agree to globalism to fight the aliens. And that is possibly what this movie was partly about. Very interestingly, it actually tries to convince people that the Greys are kind, which is very interesting because a lot of experiences, I've not had any Grey experiences, but a lot of people who have said that it wasn't fun. It was terrifying. So that I thought was interesting, because that then made me think, are they trying to prime people not to go after the Greys? Very interesting. And we've got the CIA. We've got whistleblowers from the CIA saying there's 4 different entities. There's 4 different cryptid type entities on this planet. Insectoids, reptilians, Greys, and Nordics. These Nordics, which they're supposedly using Ancestry and 23andMe to find the DNA profiles, looking for these hybrids, these Nordic hybrids. I don't think they're looking for the Nordic hybrids. Why, if you had 4 different kinds of being here, one looks human, why would you chase after them? Why are they going after the ones that look human? That doesn't make any sense. So I think they're going for the others. So I've never seen an insectoid. I have seen these 2 reptilians. I didn't see shape-shifting either. I just want to clear that up for people. I sat on this for so long because I didn't want to have to deal with the crap that comes when you speak about this sort of thing. But I think now is the time to bring it out. I don't think we're going to get taken over by reptilians. I think we already have been taken over by reptilians.
Yeah.
This is the problem. These problems are already there. So it's not like, I'm not saying this to frighten people or to try and herd them into Bluebeam at all. But I think it's important that people recognize there are all kinds of different things here that have been hidden from us. A part of the reason why I brought this out is because in 2025, I exposed the fact that the central square in Adelaide is shaped like a reptilian eye. You can't make this stuff up. I've published this. It's in a capstone, which is the CBD, in a pyramidal format, which is a certain aspect of Adelaide. They've created a pyramid with a capstone with a freaking reptilian eye in the center. That's because the person who created the streetscape of Adelaide, where I grew up, his name was Colonel William Light. William, the will of God, will of the I am, light bearer, Lucifer. He was like a version of their Lucifer, one of their, the Freemason wet dream. So that's who created our streetscape, and that's who created this pyramid. So the evidence is in plain sight, and the more we point this sort of thing out, I believe it's the reason they've dedicated Victoria Square, that's this reptilian eye-shaped square, to they've literally intentionally done it. They've dedicated it to the rainbow serpent, which is some of our original Australian lore, is about a rainbow serpent which shaped the region. Well, maybe the original Australians knew about these Shatauri. Maybe we had them here too, because I've seen a couple of them, and maybe that's what they were actually dedicating it to. It's just
Krida Mutwa spoke about that a lot, about the Shatauri.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure, I'm sure when you look at Australia as well, Rach, I mean, there has to be something like that there for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a friend sent me a footprint that she found, or her son found in a forest recently. It's 14 inches long. So that's a big footprint.
That's a big ass footprint, babe.
Big footprint. Australia has we have yowies here. That's part of the original lore too. So I've not seen one of those, but I've seen demons, and I photograph a lot of nature spirits, and this is all just part of the reality. And I'm not saying it again. I'm not saying this to frighten people. I'm just saying I think a lot of this stuff's going to come out very soon, and I don't want people to panic and think, oh my God, we're going to get overtaken. That's who's running the place. But that is shifting. And I still maintain the frequency of this planet is going up so quickly, and humanity, there are entities here that can't stand the frequency. I believe they'll go back underground. So that's partly also why I'm sharing it. I believe that what we're seeing is, certain rich elites are now building bunkers. I don't think they think that there's going to be a nuclear war. I think they're going underground because they can't stand the frequency on the surface.
It's like it becomes indigestible. It's like it's too light for them.
Yeah,
exactly. They want meat. And this is, I don't know how else to explain it, like the difference in the energies. The frequency becomes indigestible for these creatures of the night. And, at the end of the day, it's like if you have a car with bright lights coming towards you, you look away. It's like, oh, no. We become too bright.
Yeah.
It repels them. The brightness actually repels. You're going to go down to the level where you most feel comfortable. And if you like slushing around in the snacky, swampy places, be my guest. I don't want to be there. Ooh, no, thanks. I like to fly. I like a bird's eye view where I can see things. So yeah, I'm gonna aim for that. But yes, we really just need to. Wow, it's going back to what we were saying earlier on about your nervous system. When you've calmed your nervous system, and you've when I say calmed, it's like reorganized your nervous system. What the format I work on is pretty much decode. So the decode is decoding what your issues. Me, I'm the scapegoat child. I'm the problem child in my family. And that is a very important thing. You see, people do not understand how important that is in your everyday life, what your family dynamic was. And it's not about blaming your family. It's about understanding that by divine design, you are in there, and this is your role within the family. It's what you've got to learn from. I had to learn from being the problem child, the scapegoat, and from there becoming the over stabilizer, because
Right.
my fear of rejection and abandonment was that great, from not being always being told you don't belong in this family, you the wrong baby that came out of the hospital. I mean, that's a pattern that
Oh yeah.
and then you end up, as I was saying, that pattern then at the end doesn't protect you anymore. It now becomes your cage, right?
Yeah.
So when we understand, just to go back to our original soul's architecture, the architecture of your original soul's design, you will know who's lying and who's truthful. You will know whether you've got to turn right or left. You don't scream and shout to the world and demand they save you, because
No.
you know you are the only one that can save you. And it's not about I don't know what people think, but it's about knowing in this moment what the right thing is. You would turn your head by a centimeter and miss a bullet. That's the kind of thing that happens when
Yeah.
you are in your soul's original architecture. That's how we get out of this matrix. That's how we know, because we then bypass, or we know the lie no longer affects us. We're in truth. And truth is too bright for the lie.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. Really, at the end of the day, you are your body is your spaceship. Your own body is your spaceship. If you want to look at it like that, you've got to learn how to operate the spaceship. You've got to learn what needs to be serviced in your body, what oils need to be changed, right? What needs to be tweaked and tightened before you sing in divine harmony, because that's ultimately what it's about, divine harmony. And when you're there, you know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's quite funny when you're saying before that you were the problem child. I was trained to dob on my siblings. Now I'm the whistleblower.
And I'm still the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem for the cabal now.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that interesting? I love that, actually. Yeah, that's so true, because you know what I wanted to say as well about this, Rach, is that, within the system, the satanic system that you grew up in, I know that those roles within the family are really enforced, right, by your parents. I mean, they do a great job enforcing that. But also, even when you haven't been in a satanic family, you just grow up in a normal environment like I did on the farm, there's a natural way that the family forms itself, right? Or every child has its natural role, whether you like it or not. But you look at the eldest, always the controller. The eldest always needs to be in control, don't they? But they have a very different experience being born. The second one, I mean, the parents' marriage might have been in a very different place then. So the second child has or the middle, every child has a different experience. So you've just got to figure out what role you are. And it's not, I mean, I get pissed off. I was like, my brothers and sisters, and then I realized, okay. And when I realized that was that I cut myself with a knife so badly. I was busy spring cleaning my mom's house, and there was a Swiss Army knife. Guns and knives, you're not going to find me touching them easily. But I was opening it up to see if it was okay and if it needed to be cleaned or whatever. And it flicked down on my finger. And this finger, right? And I was really having those thoughts at the time. I kid you not. And this is how you must listen to your body. Because as I was having those angry thoughts towards my family, guess what? I cut my pointing finger. And this thing would not even stop bleeding. I had to put a tourniquet on it. I had to hold it up. It was like crazy. For a long time it bled, right? And then I realized, okay. And the minute I got it, the minute I started laughing and I said, okay, I get it, guess what? It stopped bleeding.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
Yeah, the
amazing.
body
It's amazing.
never lies. Yeah, and that's, as you would know very well, when people start to have memories of childhood abuse, the body tells you first. It's the body that shows you first. It's quite
Always.
amazing. Yeah.
And the body keeps the score, and every part of the body means something. Every part of your body means something. If you have a sprained little finger, it's telling you something. If you've got a mosquito bite on your right butt cheek, it's telling you something. If you crack your left knee, it's telling you something. You just got to listen, because remember, you put yourself in that place where you receive that injury. But when you look beneath the pain, because pain is not there to destroy you, it's there to take you to a deeper level of awareness. So when you start moving and you choose to sit, and that's what we do in the protective patterning series, you sit. I never knew how anxious I was until I started doing this. I found all sorts of ways to divert from my anxiety until I didn't anymore. My heart was palpitating. My palms were sweating. I had a headache. I wanted to run out of this gate at the speed of light. I had restless leg syndrome. It was insane. And I just sat and I hummed and I breathed. I sat with myself and I just allowed myself to not abandon myself in the times that I needed to be with myself. And that's how you reprogram your nervous system. That's how you learn to stay. And that's what we need, is we need to learn how to stay and be and grow our roots, not forever running around and trying to find a different way to be and avoid.
Beautiful, beautiful advice, Shanti. Well done.
Rachel, you are such a hive of information. And I just want to thank you always for putting yourself out there. And I know I actually got a very beautiful email from someone the other day asking me to look after you.
Oh, wow. Wow.
To send prayers for you, because you are a very important person. And whoever it was, they didn't give me a name. I got your email. I responded to you. I said, thank you.
That's beautiful.
But they made a special note that you needed special prayers.
Wow.
So we give them to you on this channel. We appreciate you very, very much for blowing the whistle on what happens in this depraved Australia. And it's not the Australian people, it's the government.
Exactly.
It's the government that they live these cover lives. They make you think everything is so beautiful and gorgeous. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this country is full of underground tunnels.
Yeah.
I mean, like South Africa, right? With the military, especially with the military. And the kids are being trafficked in all sorts of terrible places. And bless you guys. Thank you. And please keep Africa in your prayers.
Yeah.
Hum for us. Hum for Africa, guys. Hum for Africa. I'm going to make that a hashtag. Hum for Africa.
Beautiful. I'll be doing some humming for you, darling.
I appreciate you. Is there anything you want to say in closing, just before we wrap it up?
I have such optimism for what's coming up. I know it's going to be a little bit crazy in the next couple of months, but what comes out of that is something that we can all look forward to. It is not their new world order. I've been predicting the future for a very long time. I am not seeing cataclysm. I'm seeing something beautiful. I'm sharing what I'm sharing today because it needs to get out there. We're going to see a lot more of that sort of thing. We're not going to all turn on each other. I think governments are going to fall, but we will replace them with something better.
Oh, yeah. That's the whole thing. For me, it's about community. And all of us, this bullshit that we in this place because we've given government our power, Really, at the end of the day, we cannot sit here and say, government did that, they did this, they did that. Yes, they manipulators. They are narcissists of the highest order. We have to know that. And boy, a narcissist feels no pain for you. All they want to do is just suck up your loosh, your money, your life force, and they feel nothing to see someone suffering in the street. Now, I mean, I'll just take us back, and I want to equate that to what Jesse was saying. And I don't know, Rachel, it might be, you might even have seen stuff like that as well, where when they have these disgusting rituals and these Satanists get together, they get these deformed children, animals, like that are not bodily functional completely. And they will traumatize, and they'll go for those types of people and little people and animals too. They take great delight in torturing. They take great delight in suffering and watching others suffer. Now, we cannot expect these people, when we know now, everyone who watches these channels knows we talk about this every day. I'm on a show 4 to 5 times a week talking about this stuff. We know these guys have no empathy and no compassion for you and anyone else. So if you think government is here for your benefit, bullshit, think again. Government is here because A, they all had to go through the process of Freemasons. They're all 33rd degree Freemasons, which means they've probably done a lot of very gross things to get there. Whether you black, white, green, orange, anyone who's reached a certain level of success in life, acting, politics, business, whatever, you've had to pay a price. They have got blackmail stuff on you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be part of that club if they did not have blackmail stuff on you.
No.
So they all blackmail each other. So at the end of the day, that's what we need to be looking for, is communities, looking out for our communities, taking care of each other. How can we homeschool? If you're a teacher and you can homeschool your community's kids, then have that as a service. If you grow fruit and veggies, then trade your fruit and veggies, whatever it is. If you can take kids to school, if you can be a lift club, I don't know, whatever, the smallest thing. This is the time that we have to do it. We have to pull together. We cannot be pulling apart anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And guys and girls, thank you so much for joining me with our beautiful Australia, Focus on Australia. We will be back, I think, next week, right? Are we on again next week with Andrew?
First Wednesday of July.
It's either next week or the week after. I think it's next week, actually.
Well, might be. I have to check.
Yeah. Okay, we're either going to see you next week with Andrew McIntyre, Rachel's brother, who, of course, is coming up with some horror stories of what's been happening in Australia as well. These stories somehow reminds me of the Australian guy. I can't think now. Come now, this is embarrassing. I've hit a blank. Andrew.
I'm trying to think too.
Yeah, no. I've had him on. He was on some of the reruns in the past few days, past few weeks. Yeah, he was on some of the reruns. Anyway, sorry guys, I've just hit a blank, but I do that a lot lately. I know. Forgive me. Okay.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah, gosh. If we haven't been hit by storms, 10 days of darkness, right? I mean, if that wasn't a crisis enough, next thing, and then no water as well, right? And then, of course, what's happening in my country right now. You know, we literally we are on the brink of a civil war. So no, not Akim Ra, the Australian guy. Come on, Adrian John Wells. Adrian
Okay.
John Wells. That's right. Gosh, thank you. How embarrassing that I hit a blank there. But I was saying, your brother Andrew, somehow, you know, it's that same kind of story, although I know the experiences haven't necessarily been the same, but just crazy how they are targeted. And I mean, Australia knows no shame. Those
No.
Australian officials know no shame, do they, when it comes to targeting their people?
No. And then, you know, the police union kicks out or has no confidence in their own police commissioner and his deputy. You know, this is what's going on here. So at least they're waking up. The union's fighting back, which is a big thing here. Huge, huge for South Australia. I'm sure Andrew will have a lot to say about that.
Have the unions not usually fought back? Because the unions here in this country are obviously mainly for the African workers. They are strong. I mean, the unions pretty much control the country. I don't know if they still do, but no, the unions definitely control the country. Yeah.
But it's very interesting that this has happened. Absolutely amazing. It's just phenomenal.
It is. I love it. I love what's happening there. I love that the light is shining. And yes, unfortunately, it's darkest before the dawn. Yeah. So let's keep humming.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I will see you next week or the week after, but whatever, it'll be fun. You and your bro. We'll see absolutely. You then.
Look forward to it.
Take good care, everybody. God bless you all. And I so appreciate you all for joining us and humming for us and taking care of yourselves and each other. And God bless you all.
Lots of love.
If this broke something open, if you recognized yourself in the testimony, if your body responded before your mind understood, the next step isn't more information. It's pattern work. Decode what your nervous system built to survive. Dismantle the story that keeps it running. Reorganize through the body and choose, actually choose, from the person you're becoming, not from the pattern that formed when you were too small to choose. That's Solutions. Link below. The body is the record. Let's listen.